Have you been wondering if face-to-face tutoring is actually something you could do? Then you're in the right place. I will take you through this checklist that will give you all the details you need and all the things you need to consider to see if face-to-face tutoring is actually the thing for you. Hi, my name is Jane, and I have run my own face-to-face tutoring business for 15 years, and I'm fully booked, and I'm here to show you how it can be done if this is something you're interested in. So the first thing that we can look at is, who is this for? The face-to-face or in-person tutoring, who could that be for? Okay, now this could be for any person who knows about a certain subject that can be tutored. Okay, so that could be if you know English, it could be if you're really good in history or anything like this, that you see that there is a need for that type of tutoring. Now, it could be that you are a former teacher or you're still teaching in a school, but you either want to change your teachings, okay, to a different structure with different plus and minus points, okay. You want to maybe step back from the school system. You want to be more flexible. Anything like this could be a good way of seeing if face-to-face tutoring is for you. It can also be for university students, okay, or recent graduates. They have everything fresh in their head, and it could be also a good way to earn some extra income at the end of one's studies. So this could also be a way of starting face-to-face tutoring. If you are a parent, this could also be something that you could look into. Sometimes I have mums, so stay-at-home mums, who deal with everything, obviously with the children and so on, but they do have some time and they want to make good use of themselves. They want to earn a little bit of income and they want to do it around the children. This can also be for retired or semi-retired professionals. I have a friend who is he actually retired last year, and he's an engineer, and he did a lot of stuff with like complicated maths and things like this, and he is now helping people in that branch of what he worked with. So this could also be a way of people who are either coming close to retirement or who are actually retired and they have something that they can give and they can tutor. It can be also a career change directly, okay? It can be a new direction. It can be completely like, I want to do something totally different, and they have a skill set that can be taught, okay? Now, tutoring is not necessarily just subjects for school, okay? You can also, it's not really called tutoring in that sense, but it can also be like, well, okay, I know how to run a shoe shop, right? And I know all about that, and I've done it for 25 years, and I love it, and it's my passion. That you can also teach people. Okay, now tutoring is, of course, more put towards subjects in school or languages for adults, things like this, but I will not rule out this other type of coaching. Native or near native speakers. Okay, now I live myself in France. I am not French, and I teach English. Okay, there are a lot of English speaking people in France, and English is very much needed in this country. So just by speaking another language, that's an amazing start to actually start a face-to-face tutoring business. Okay. You have teaching assistants or school support staff. Very good people also, because they have the right mindset and have, they know how to kind of bring concepts across. Okay, so this could be people working with students already, but they want to add a little bit of income on the side. And it can be adults with practical or creative skills. Okay, so you see there are a lot of different ways that you can actually go into face-to-face tutoring if you want to. And this is obviously not an exhaustive list. There is a lot more ways you can start. Now, if you want to pursue this as an actual business, now I'm not talking about like a little hobby on the side, but actually get good regular income from this, the first thing you need to do is that you need to get clear on why you want to tutor. Okay, now this obviously, it has to start with one student, and does not maybe sound like a business, but you have to start somewhere. Okay, so why do you want to tutor? Okay, and here you need to make sure that you tick these boxes, that you know why you want to tutor. Okay, you are clear on really kind of your structure. Okay, if it's like, oh yeah, I help just this person a bit and that person a bit, that's totally fine. But if you start out with a clear vision on, okay, this is actually what I'm gonna make my business, then you have to make sure that that is clear in your head. Okay, and it's something stable. Okay, there's nothing wrong with tutoring as a hobby and just get a little bit of income every month. That's totally fine. But what I'm talking about here is actually is a face-to-face tutoring business for you. Okay, and with this checklist that we will go through, you will see what you would need to have in place in order to actually be able to create a full business around this. Now you need to define who you tutor. Okay, obviously not just a subject, whether that's English or history or maths or something else. Okay, so you need to have a clear age group. Okay, you need to know the level yourself, or at least feel confident in taking the material for that age group and kind of change it in your head and bring it out in a way that is understandable. Okay, so I would suggest you start with something you're comfortable with. Okay, I know some tutors, they're like adults all the way because they feel much more comfortable tutoring adults than children. I specialize in children. Okay, so it depends where your passion lies, and also, do you feel that you can bring across the concepts that is needed for that age group? Okay, and you can actually do in one sentence who your lessons are for. Okay, so work out what is the person or the people, obviously, that you are going to tutor. Now, if you are looking at doing face-to-face, you need to also consider these things. You need to figure out where your lessons are going to take place. Okay, are you starting with one-on-one or small groups? These are all decisions. It's kind of like you need to look at it and say, okay, yes, check, I have this in place. Okay, do I want one-on-one or do I want to start with groups? Okay, I want to start with one-on-one. Good, check. And it's all like things you need to consider, and also make sure you have it in place. Okay, because like, let's say you do not know where to do the lessons if you want to do face-to-face. Okay, so you need to have a place. Okay, that could be, the place could be your kitchen. It doesn't have to be some fancy place, but this is just a thing that you need to work out. You need to know how many hours you realistically can do. Okay, looking at your week, looking at all the things you need to do that are kind of non-negotiable. Okay, all of these things you need to see and have a look at. Write down your schedule and see what can you actually do outside of that. What hours can go to tutoring hours. Okay, so it fits your energy and personal life. Then you need to clarify your offer. Okay, so now you know who you want to teach, you know how you're going to do it, like is it one-on-one or in small groups. And then you need to clarify your offer. Okay, is it once a week? Is it whenever? Is it on demand? Okay, how long is it going to be? What problem are you actually solving for your student? Okay, because let's say an adult is coming and they say, okay, I have this problem. Can you solve that? Okay, it's all about helping people solving their problems. All right. And do not forget that even when you start out, if it's like from scratch, I always say, do not tutor everyone. It's like, yeah, I can do anyone. I can do anything, you know. And it's kind of the first thing that we all kind of think of. It's like, oh, well, I can do, you know, I can do anything, because you probably can. Okay, I can do any level, any, you know, maybe not any subject, but within your subject, you could tutor anyone. But for your own kind of peace of mind and for starting out simple, do not go for that, because it's going to be, your messaging is going to be all over the place. Okay, because the messaging for children is not the same for the messaging for adults. Okay, and you're going to be like stretched out, and it's going to be confusing and things like this. So just when you start out, just say, okay, it's this age group or that type of person that I want to tutor. And then afterwards, maybe you can broaden out, but start with something really specific. You need to look at your pricing. Okay, choose a price that you can say out loud confidently, and you're not like cringing when you say the price. Okay, and it reflects your regular commitment, not just one-off. Okay, because we want to have this sustainable. We want this to be a regular thing. Okay, you need to understand your price can evolve later, and you're not underpricing. Okay, do not start low. Even if you're starting out, start with something that is a good range, that you feel, okay, I can actually say that out loud and feel that I'm worth it. And then make sure that you do not, you know, say, oh, well, I'm just going to do it really cheap to start out with. No, you can always, I always say to my students when I coach them to become tutors, start with a good price, and then you can always give discounts. Okay, do not start with a low price, because putting up the price, it's always harder than saying, okay, this is my price, but I give you a discount. Okay, so make sure that you actually look at that. Then you need to make sure that whatever you deliver, so the lessons, where it is, at what frequency you're going to tutor, the price, all of this has to be super, super simple to understand. Okay, it's like you need to kind of pitch yourself in 10 words. Okay, 30 seconds or less. Okay, it has to be super clear. It's literally like a one sentence thing, you know, where you're like, I tutor business adults, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it has to be like super clear. And then make sure that you then now go out in your local area. Okay, find out where these people hang out. Okay, so it depends really on who you chose to tutor. Find out where do they hang out, and then go out and be visible. Okay, it's I cannot stress how much the consistency in these things, in this business, is what goes over everything. Okay, there's so much stuff going on social media, and even like, you know, you go into a shop and you have like 15 different leaflets in front of you. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're constant in getting the word out. Okay, so when you have this concept idea of tutoring business, you have clear rules. Okay, so you have your terms and conditions, you have your schedule, you know how your payments go. It's all very clear, and people can probably read it on a paper, which is always good. Okay, You know what time slots you have available. And that way it's easy for you to kind of communicate, okay, this is my business, this is how I'm organized, okay? And it's also easy for the clients or potential clients to say, okay, this is what he or she offers. It just makes it much more simple, okay? Now make sure that you avoid these common beginner mistakes, okay? Do not make everything perfect. Do not spend hours on a Canva post or something like this, right? It's better to just get it out there, okay? Now, online tutoring, we're doing the same thing, okay? Online tutoring or face-to-face, obviously we are tutoring a certain subject to a certain type of people, you know, and we're getting paid for it, okay? Same thing. But obviously, there are different ways of advertising and marketing yourself online, and there are different ways on face-to-face, okay? So if you want to do face-to-face tutoring, make sure that you follow other people who are doing face-to-face tutoring, or someone like myself who have done it for 15 years and kind of I know where to go and where not to go to actually get the most efficient way of doing it, okay? Because online is not exactly the same. Over preparing lessons, okay, lesson preparation curriculum is a totally different thing, which is not something I'm really going to get into here, but make sure that obviously you have everything ready for the lesson. I always say do have a little bit extra in your lesson prepared, because sometimes things go faster and then you don't want to be there, okay, well, I have nothing else to say, especially if you're starting out, you don't really know how to, you know, kind of just come up with things on top of your head, okay? And take things one by one. Like, I'm very much fan of bite-sized, you know, steps. It's like, okay, I need to do this, good, go and do it. Next thing, go and do this, I do it, like in this checklist, because otherwise it just gets very quickly overwhelming. So now go through this checklist, okay, and see what is your next step, okay? So now you have basically, if you checked all these, you know, are you actually gonna do this? Because sometimes people go through this checklist and then they're like, well, actually, no, that's not for me, which is totally fine, right? But if you feel, okay, good, you know, I have a place, I know I have a price, I know who to tutor, I know kind of how to structure my lessons, so on and so on, well then, great, you're ready for the next step. So now your job is to figure out what is the next step you're going to take within the next week. Okay, I hope it's more than one step, okay? You can even go back to this checklist and literally just do each point, okay? You can do that too. But make sure that you actually take action, because if we do not take action, nothing's going to happen, okay? So these are the points that will give you the starting point to become a face-to-face tutor, okay, and teaching it as a business. All right, I will see you in the next one.